Hey there, and welcome. As we get older, we tend to focus a lot on our physical health, right? But what about our mental health? Today, we're diving into how we can actively build a stronger, more resilient mind in our later years. This isn't about fighting aging. Nope. It's about embracing it with strength and clarity. So, let's get into the practical steps we can all take to really nurture that mental wellness. So, here it is, the big question we're tackling today. With advancing age, how can we improve our mental health? It's a question that honestly touches so many of us. And the good news, the answer isn't some big secret. We're about to break down the most important things you can actually influence in your day-to-day life to make a real positive difference. To help guide us, we've broken this down into 5 key pillars. First, we'll talk about the link between age and mental health itself. Then we'll get into the super important body-mind connection, the challenge of loneliness, why financial security matters so much, and finally, how to live a life that's both engaged and peaceful. Think of it as our roadmap. All right, let's start with our first pillar, just acknowledging the connection between getting older and our mental health. It's just a fact of life that as we age, our mental state can feel a bit more vulnerable. And a huge part of that is its link to our physical health. I mean, if you're managing something long-term like diabetes or heart issues, that's naturally going to put a strain on your mental well-being. Just recognizing that link is the first crucial step.
And that flows right into our first pillar, which is really the foundation for everything else we're going to talk about, the body-mind connection. You just can't pull these two apart. Physical wellness and mental wellness, they're two sides of the very same coin, and honestly, that gets even more true the older we get.
And I think this quote just says it all, doesn't it? If you are physically fit, then your mental health will also remain balanced. It's so simple, but it's such a powerful truth. When we take care of our bodies, we're basically giving our minds the solid ground they need to stand on. So how do we build that solid ground? Well, it all starts with the basics. A healthy diet, of course. Good quality sleep. And this one is a really big deal. The source material actually points to a lack of sleep as a primary trigger for a lot of mental health disorders. It's not just about feeling tired, it's fundamental. Then there's getting out for a daily walk or some exercise. And, naturally, avoiding things that hurt both body and mind, like too much alcohol or smoking.
Okay, moving on to our second pillar, combating loneliness. Once we've got a handle on our physical health, our social health is the next critical piece of this puzzle. As our lives change, kids move away, we retire, it can be so easy to become isolated, and that poses a major risk to our mental well-being.
And it's hard to overstate just how serious this is. The source material describes loneliness as possibly the single biggest cause of depression in later life. We're not talking about just a passing feeling here. When we're isolated, our mental health just doesn't have the support system it needs to function well. The key takeaway is that we have to be really proactive about fighting it. So how do we do that? Well, the advice is actually pretty straightforward. First, get out into your community. Go where the people are. Second, don't just be a bystander. Actively engage with folks. Start a conversation. And third, and this is so important, share how you're feeling. Practice that catharsis. Don't let everything get bottled up inside. Every little bit of connection and communication is a huge step in the right direction. Now for our third pillar, and this is one that is often a huge source of silent stress: financial security. It is incredibly hard to have any real peace of mind when you're constantly worried about money. That stress has a direct and measurable impact on our well-being. And you can really feel the difference here. On one side, you've got this storm cloud of financial stress, which is just a huge source of anxiety. But on the other, there's the peace that comes with stability. And this isn't just a feeling. Research confirms that people with less financial worry have significantly better mental health. So planning and saving, they aren't just financial chores. They're actually powerful acts of mental self-care. This brings us to our fourth and final pillar, leading an engaged and peaceful life. This is all about what you do with your time and how you manage your inner world. And this becomes especially important after big life changes, like retirement. I absolutely love this quote. You may have retired from the office, but never retire from activities. What a powerful way to reframe retirement. If you stop engaging your mind, it's gonna affect you. You'll feel older, faster. The key is to stay active, to stay productive, and to stay involved. So, what does that engagement look like? Well, find some creative or productive work that gives you a sense of purpose.
practice mindfulness, and use deep breathing to help manage your emotions. This is especially great for preventing that anger or frustration that can sometimes bubble up. And of course, keep learning by reading books. Each of these is like taking your mind to the gym, keeping it flexible, strong, and resilient. And that brings us to the end. We've looked at these foundational pillars: physical health, social connection, financial security, and keeping an engaged mind. Look, the knowledge is powerful, but it's the action that really creates change. So I'll leave you with this question. Looking at everything we've covered, what is the one first step you will take today for your mental health? I hope this has been a helpful explanation for you.